Welcome to Craig's Kitchen, the show on the internet about food that you can make at home, hopefully with the same tools I have, but you don't really need them, except for one maybe. So, making yogurt at home. Have you often wondered, how do I do it? I know I did before I had tried it myself. It's a bit intimidating to try new things, but here this video should hopefully calm those fears and allow you to make your own yogurt at home the way I do it. So, how do I make yogurt? Well, I like little jars that I open up, stir, and have a fruity yogurt. Ha! How convenient is that? That's the way we buy them in the store, so why not make them that way at home? Vitamix, not really necessary. Fruit or food processor would work just fine. Instant Pot, not really necessary. I just use it to heat the milk and make the fruit compote base. And then I also use it to sterilize the jars that I make the yogurt in, all of which you can do on the stove. And the most important part though is to have a sous vide bath. And this keeps the temperature of a water bath perfect. Sous vide device, Instant Pot, Vitamix, that's my three main tools. And let me get started in showing you the ingredients that I'm going to use. Perfect. That was fast, wasn't it? To you anyway. Alright, so ingredients for my yogurt. Here we have strawberries. Instead of using nothing but sugar, I like to use a mixture of some allulose, which is a similar compound to sugar, but doesn't get absorbed as much in our bodies, so it's like 1/10 of the calories. It says 0 calorie, but that's just what they legally can put. It's about 10% of the calories of sugar. This is monk fruit with erythritol. I do about 1/3 of each in what would normally be the sugar additive to the yogurt base for fruit. This is just to reduce sugar. You could do all sugar if you want. I just think it tastes the same and has 2/3 less sugar added when I do it this way, and that's how I like to do it. The corn starch helps to thicken the fruit base. A little bit of salt, a little bit of lemon juice. And then we have 1 gallon of milk. So I like to do 32 jars, you know. Here's one that's from the last batch, and then here is my base one that is my control for the next batch. You don't know if something's going to go wrong with the fruit base or anything like that. So about 1 gallon of milk. So these are what I use. Simple enough. Let's get started. Alright, so here is my setup to make the base for the fruit base, because part of it is going to be blended and the rest of it's just going to be chopped. So first we have our blender container here. I'm going to put in 12 ounces of thawed frozen strawberries. Then I'm going to clear it, and this time instead of sugar, I'm going to use mountain berry sauce, which has a first ingredient of sugar. I'm going to use this in place of the sugar third that I would normally be using. Go, and I would also add about 3/4 of a cup of water, or no, about a cup of water to this. But because I'm using this instead, I'm just going to leave the water out, because this is going to replace the water and the sugar. So this has 13 grams of sugar per ounce, so I'm going to do about 208 grams of this so that I get 90 grams of sugar. Alright. Then allulose. Allulose is actually only about 70% as sweet as sugar, so I'm going to use 127 grams. There we go. And then we're going to use the monk fruit, again about 90 grams, because this is a lot more relative to sugar and sweetness. Alright, now I'm going to do about 6 tablespoons of cornstarch, and cornstarch weighs about 10 grams per tablespoon, so that's going to be about 60 grams. There we go. And then we need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm just going to do about 30 grams, because it's about 1 ounce. Perfect. And then we're going to do about half a teaspoon of salt. Perfect. Alright, so now I'm going to put the lid on top, and now we're going to blend it. "30 seconds is about enough. This will actually blend the strawberry seeds. So, really nice, smooth base. Now I have to thaw and chop the rest of the strawberries. So let me throw those in the microwave. Alright, so basically you put in a little bit of the fruit at a time and you pulse it to gently chop the strawberries. So you can see it's a little bit pureed but a little bit chopped, and that's what's going to be our texture in the yogurt. Alright, now it's time to heat the milk. So take our 1 gallon jug. So now we're going to go and heat this to 180 degrees. So I leave the lid off and I'm just going to set it to saute. And I'm taking my, well, don't tell anybody, this is really my brother's. Yes. I'm going to set it target temperature of 178 because the residual heat will heat it a few degrees more afterwards. There we go. So I'm going to let that heat to 180 degrees. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and skim off the top. Look at that beautiful milk there. And that's actually delicious, so don't throw that away. Eat it. Yummy. So now I'm going to portion out the milk. And I have 2 containers that I'm going to split it between. So you got a little bit of milk stuff on the bottom. A little bit of browning, but not much. So now I just let these cool down. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and make that fruit compote. I took the blended fruit base and I am now heating it. So we need to heat it till it's boiling for about a few minutes, till it turns a more translucent color. At which point, I will be adding the blended chopped strawberries. And then I'll cook it a little bit longer just to thicken it up a little bit more. But otherwise I'm not going to heat it too much because I want the strawberries to overall be mostly fresh. Alright, so it's been a few minutes. You can see how much darker it is and how slightly more translucent. Just a little bit more. So now I'm going to add the chopped strawberries. And there you have it. Now you have some fruit base for our yogurt. Nice. Alright, so here I've cleaned the Instant Pot and I now have a stack of 8-ounce mason jar wide mouth, 8-ounce mason jar regular mouth, 8-ounce mason jar wide mouth. Ba-da! 1 cup of water in it. Now I'm going to set it to manual 1 minute. And that's going to sanitize them. Be back when they're all done. Alright, here are my now sanitized 32 8-ounce jars and 1 4-ounce jar for the next starter of the batch. Voila! So, let's go ahead and portion them out. So I should have about 64 ounces of fruit compote here, give or take. So what we do is we take a jar, clear it, we take a spoon, and we're just going to spoon about 2 ounces. See, 2.07, good enough. I'll accept a 5% deviation. And this is boring, so I'm not going to have you watch me do all of them. I'll just skip to the next part where they're all full. Bye-bye. Voila! They're all filled with roughly 2 ounces of strawberry fruit base. Here is my milk ready. I am now going to spoon into it about half this container. So this is my my little container I made for the batch last time. Alright, about half of that. Then I'm just going to turn on the lowest speed. Alright, so that fully mixed all the bacteria. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now I've noticed it's a much smoother yogurt if there's not as much breaking of the jam on the bottom. Let's hope I'm not contaminating the yogurt with this spoon. Probably am, but still. Alright, about 4.2 ounces is what I'm looking for. Since that's roughly what 1 container of 4-ounce volume milk would weigh. So, alright. I'm again going to cut and have all of these filled. Ta-da! So, roughly between 4 and 4.2 ounces by weight of milk yogurt mix. Now I'm going to put the lids on and I'm going to put them in the water bath and I'll show you what that looks like. There's the 32 jars with jam and then the one without. Beautiful. So, basically, I leave that for the next 6 hours. And then when I want a yogurt, I just go in my fridge and grab a yogurt. And that's the last one from the last batch. That was a strawberry cherry mango. Alright, and then I'll show it to you tomorrow when it's done. Alright, and here we have the fruit on the bottom yogurt of our labor. That was how to make yogurt from start to finish. Good morning, everyone. It is now the next day. So we remove the leak-proof lid. And here we can see that's the separated whey protein. That's basically what separates out in the cheese and yogurt making process most of the time. You drink it. Tastes fine. Tastes like slightly sour water. And then we have our yogurt. And then we just mix it together. By the way, the yogurt I used as a starter a few batches ago was the Noosa brand yogurt. So it has probiotics as well as the yogurt cultures. This one's not the smoothest batch I've ever made, but there you go. Yogurt.